Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Master Salim Odin of Progressive Taekwondo Academy, and welcome to Tap In Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day down here in North Carolina. We're on spring break, and so the kids, I'm doing a little spring break camp, so we did a little tour of Prairie View Eco Station today. Got outside in the outdoors, painted with some watercolor paint made from acorns, played on some playground equipment that was made out of sticks and rocks and everything. So we got outside, and then we went to the pool and went swimming and had fun down the sliding board. And so it was a pretty good day. This weekend, I took one of my black belts to the North Carolina Sport Poomsae training for the Sport Poomsae team down here in North Carolina. And so the North Carolina Sport Poomsae team is open to anybody that's going to the AAU Nationals in Fort Lauderdale, Florida this summer and competing in Sport Poomsae. And so as a state, right, we want to do well in the national event, and we really want to represent North Carolina as well. And so we want anybody that is representing North Carolina to do well. And so we're trying to put together statewide trainings to allow kids to come together, to allow kids to know each other and become friends. Because a lot of people do Taekwondo, but when it comes to competition, right, it's not a big group of individuals compared to the number of people that are actually enrolled in Taekwondo schools across the state. And so we went to the training, and it was a real good training. I learned a lot. Because for me, we're new to Sport Poomsae. Sport Poomsae's been around probably for the last, I would say, 10, 15 years as an event, and it's grown tremendously. But for us competing in Sport Poomsae, it's relatively new. And if you want to do well, you sort of have to learn the game. And so I wanted to go, spend some time with some coaches, some masters that specialize in Sport Poomsae. For me, I feel like I specialize in sparring, and I do Poomsae. I know my Poomsae. I teach Poomsae, but I don't teach them to the specifics where my students know how to play the game and really learn how to succeed in Sport Poomsae. And so during this training, we really learned how to learn what everybody else was doing so that we can go back and copy some drills, copy some things to help improve our performances and really allow us to build confidence as we prepare to go to compete in the Nationals this summer. And at the end of the training, right, the coaches were talking, and we were trying to make plans to see when we could get together to see what was the next step moving forward. And the head, one of the state Poomsae team coaches, said that Poomsae was harder than sparring. And I looked at him like, is he saying this because he's a Poomsae school, right? Because his students can't spar, or does he really feel that way because he thinks that Poomsae is harder than sparring? And so for me, on the way back from Charlotte, I was thinking about, I was like, you know what? I bet he was serious when he said that Poomsae was harder than sparring. And I don't know if he meant it as a slight, right, to sort of boost his own ego. Sometimes people say things to sort of make themselves feel good. But for me, all of his students look good, right? And they all have to do the same thing. They have to have their stances look exactly the same. They have to punch the same way. So he's teaching based on a set of requirements, right? Based on what the handbook says. Your walking stance has to be a foot in between each foot. Your back foot has to be out 30 degrees. Your front foot has to be facing forward, right? Your back stance has to be a certain distance. Your blocks have to be a certain height. Your strikes have to be a certain height. And everybody has to do things the exact same way. And if their strike is a little bit low, it's a deduction, right? If their block is too far across their body, it's a deduction. And so everybody has to do things the same. In contrast with sparring, right, I can have 4 students and they may all do something differently. And for me, as a sparring coach, the the fun part of devising game plans and teaching them how to play the game is teaching them how to use their strengths to allow them to win doing what they do well, right? I might have somebody that's uses their right leg up front. I may have a student that fights better with their right leg behind them, so that's a different selection of techniques. I may have a student that's more aggressive, whose offensive game plan allows him to become victorious. I may have a student that's more of a defensive fighter, and so as a counter, he has to learn how to counter and has to work on his timing in order to put him in a position to win. And so both aspects of Taekwondo are challenging in their own right. And so I wouldn't say Poomsae is harder than sparring or sparring is harder than Poomsae. I would say they both require a different type of focus and a different type of training regimen in order to excel. And tonight with my students, right, we're really working on visualization and sort of manifesting their dreams, right? It's April. We have some group trainings coming up in a couple of weeks. We have a tournament coming up in 3 weeks. Then we have another tournament coming up in June, and then the Nationals in July. And so I really want them focusing more on seeing their goals and really attacking them and trying to put in the work to make their dreams come true every time they step on the mat in training. And with Poomsae, it's the same thing. They have to visualize themselves doing the form the perfect way. They have to visualize their kick. They have to know everything. They have to be dialed in every time they step on the mat. The thing that allows a competitor to be successful and to be great, no matter what they do, is their focus, their consistency, and really their desire to win. Because you can be focused, right, and not be consistent. You can want to win, but really not put in the work to ensure victory. So the focus, the consistency, and the desire to win, the will to get up and practice when you don't want to practice, the will to push yourself further, the will to work hard when nobody else is working, is what really allows us to be champions. And what I told my students tonight is that it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to be successful, the same steps are required no matter what it is. If you want to be successful in math, you have to have focus, you have to be consistent, and you have to have the will, the desire to do well. If you want to do well on a spelling bee, you have to have a super focus, you have to be consistent in your practice as far as learning your words and right, your phonics in order to know how to spell things, and you have to be consistent with your practice and your desire, your will to win. And so those three things are what allows us to be great, right? And it doesn't matter if it's Poomsae, it doesn't matter if it's sparring, it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, right, playing your violin, starring or seeking a lead role in your play, running for student council. It doesn't matter. If you want to be successful, you have to have a focus. You have to be able to work hard, and you really have to be able to visualize and see yourself being successful and then go and making it happen. And so we'll see how hard Sport Poomsae is coming, because Progressive Taekwondo is stepping into that Sport Poomsae realm, and we're focused and we want to do well, just like we want to do well in everything. And you know, with sparring, we're still focused and we're still trying to do well as that. But this is Master Salim saying it's a good year and it's a good time to start manifesting your dreams. This is Master Salim. Peace out and tap in.